start
That's also what she said.
streaming. And we are starting. We're excellent connection. Here we go. Here we go.
I don't want to see the rash. Oh.
Yeah, and welcome to the Plank Podcast. Oh, tonight we do have the one, the only Nick, M&F, and Haagenson from 8 Side Studios. And we're going to talk a lot about studio stuff today because there's a lot of questions that I have and I know some people need to hear and some people just need to know and whatever thing else that's happening out there. But we also have the Gavin. Say hi, Gavin.
Hello.
Hello,
I'm Gavin now.
He's Gavin, yes, and Nick can be Gavin. And we do have
I'm Gavin.
Allie with an I in the studio, but
Hello.
she's hanging off screen right now.
Attempting to run sound.
Yeah, exactly.
She's
attempting. She's doing a
she's the
great
best in
job.
town right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Not
like
Mr. S
Who was
over here.
available?
But, you know, it is. What is it? It's almost the end of March. We're getting into April. I got to get my taxes done this week. This is not going to be a fun week. So, and everyone's been sick and all that other fun stuff. The backyard's still frozen. I'm just complaining now on camera because I can. But first, we need to talk with Nick. Nick, you got anything that's uplifting for the rest of us? At least that's been happening this past few weeks?
Yes, 420 is only a few weeks away.
It is? Oh, my God.
Dang.
How did I forget?
And what happens that day?
It's Hitler's birthday.
Is it actually?
It was, yeah.
Yes, it actually was.
Okay.
So why they picked that day for all the rest of that, I don't know.
I think it was just funny.
Yeah, maybe. maybe so.
Most of the reason behind all of that is because it was funny. Like,
Makes sense.
It was a Grateful Dead thing, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think it was good. With Jerry Garcia come up with all that? That was...
The ice
Or is that
cream?
just folklore? It could be just folklore. The ice cream? Jerry Garcia?
Yeah.
Beats me.
The B&J? Ben and Jerry's?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Nick, tell us a little bit about you. What do you do?
I am a partial owner of 8 Side Studio, which is a newer studio here in the Fargo area. I've been a musician from here for like forever, 20 years.
What kind of studio, Nick?
Oh, it's a recording studio for music primarily, but anything audio really. We have really good.
Do you record farts?
We have.
Okay. I was just wondering.
We have to test everything.
I got to check that. We got to test everything.
You have to test everything. It's a music recording
You got to let me
studio.
know what mics you were using.
You were
No.
saying.
They're all the ones that you have looked at.
Oh, God.
You gotta know which one
Sorry,
sounds
Has
better.
anyone contracted pink eye? Yes.
No one has told me that it has been related. And you cannot prove otherwise.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, you were saying.
It is a recording studio for primarily music and audio. We have it's a hybrid studio, so it has a bunch of analog gear, but we use computing processing for post-production as well. I guess the other guys told me to mention that it is technically a co-op, which is weird, but that's because it is. It is not just my stuff, though. I do believe I do own a good chunk of the studio, but it's a combination of efforts between me, Clyde Schumann, and Dalton Luther.
Very cool.
Shout out to Clyde and Dalton.
Absolutely.
Hey.
So yeah.
So, Gavin, you want to start him off with questions?
Yeah, what kind of instruments do you play, Nick?
Oh well, I primarily play bass. I'm
Okay.
a bassist around town here, but
That cute face.
huh?
It's behind you right now. Over your shoulder.
That's me. Wow,
That is not right.
that guy. But I primarily play bass. I studied jazz guitar in college. Didn't go very far with that, but that's because the bass was just more fun.
Nice.
I would say that I am competent in keyboards about 10 years ago.
Okay.
I cannot play keyboard very well
Yeah.
now, but I know my way around most instruments apart from drums. That's the only instrument that I cannot really play is drums. And
No
that's
one
why
wants
I'm
to
friends.
play that anyways.
That's why I'm
I
friends
wouldn't
with
worry
Dave.
about it.
Makes sense. Very cool.
Yep. No one wants to play drums.
No. No, it
You're
just. I always say it just ends up being furniture moving. That's
Look,
all we ever do.
That's why I have the MIDI drums. I just
It's
get all the presets.
the loops and stuff and
Yeah, we
things.
got some really cool jazz.
All
jazz
we do
loops.
is get in the way and start arguments and
Takes too long
Exactly.
to set up, and you gotta tear down.
Do you know how many mics we got to use back there? My God, it's like, I got to plug in and turn on my vocal mic.
At least two.
At least.
At least two.
Yeah.
There's at least two mics on the drums.
Yeah.
But all jokes aside, let's get down nitty gritty here. It's just like when you go into the studio, what should you expect, and what are you expecting from new clients?
Sure.
And
Well,
then we'll really get into it here.
8-side is a little weird. A lot of people will think it's like a building. It's not. It's a basement that's part of a building. So the first thing that people probably should expect is that there is probably a monster at the bottom of the stairs, and it is usually me. But that is not the case. It is out of the way, which is good. But what they should kind of expect is when you get there to have either made a game plan with me already, or to be able to sit down for the first 10 minutes to decide what we're going to do. I probably already have an idea in my head what I want to do, but I always want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. And if that is if whatever I planned is completely out of the window, then we can kind of move forward and decide, are we going to do drums first? Are we doing drums at all? What kind of song is this? What kind of sound are you going for?
Who wants drums?
We just had Javier.
Shout out to Javier.
Gotta love Javier. He was just in the studio, and he had his wisdom. He had actually had his wisdom teeth removed 2 days after he was at the studio.
Ouch.
But he wanted something very specific, and we weren't quite sure what that was until we actually sat down behind the board, found some examples of what he was kind of looking for, and from there, that is when I can decide what kind of mic am I using, what preamp am I plugging this into. If I'm plugging into a preamp, is it going straight from the board into a compressor? Am I only using one mic on him, or am I using a number of them? Is he playing and singing at the same time? In which case, then I have to figure out what microphones I can use that will actually work in that situation.
Sounds complicated.
It usually, for me, it's just like, okay, that, but that's how quick. That's how much I've done now, that I can just decide that's how fast I need to make these decisions. But
and that's why you get paid the big bucks, right?
Yes, sir.
that's how I get paid some money.
Speaking of which, what do you guys charge, like per hour? Or?
So we do a half day, full day rate.
Okay.
Very rarely will I do an hourly rate, and that's like, unless it's like, they were there for 30 minutes and got their really quick track thing, and then I'll be like, I don't know, this much. But for a half day, it's $150. Okay. And then for a full day, it's $250.
Gotcha.
And that is, you can do as much as you want. You can use the entire space, all the mics in the world, as long as one of us is there to set it up. And
did you say all the mics in the world?
All the mics in the world in that room. And
I got to remember that one. Just kidding. Go ahead.
All the mics in the world that are in that room, and as many channels as you want, within the limitations that we can only do 24 at a time.
Gotcha.
Right now, anyway. Which is very hard to reach, actually.
Right.
Really hard to get 24 channels at the same time.
Unless you're miking Gavin's amp.
Unless you're miking Dave Bliss guitar
Okay.
at the same time as another Dave Bliss guitar somehow. But yeah, so but then after that, if you wish, we do also offer a mixing service. Each of us are different engineers, so if you'd like, you can work with each of us or one of us differently than the other. And that, it kind of shifts a little bit depending on the needs, but our standard is mixing and mastering is $135 per song.
Cool.
So
it's not horrible at all.
Very reasonable.
Very good.
We're trying to just get our foot in the door, and this seemed to be the best pricing comparatively to a lot of those people that are doing it, like online mixing. Yep. Like, you send me the stems, I'll mix it for $150. I'm like, well, I already have the stuff, so I don't need to worry about transferring it over. So
gotcha. How did you guys come up with 8-Side Studio?
So we are all
the name.
So 8-Side is kind of it's kind of a joke. So we have all.
It's kind of a joke.
Well, it's a joke that Clyde's fiance made.
It's a gaming thing, isn't it?
It is. So
Yes.
we have all been in the same.
Ha! Score one for the old man.
We've all been in the same Dungeons and Dragons crew for the last 8 years.
Nerds!
Let's go.
Nerds!
Yes,
Dungeons and Dragons.
we play with wires and sound.
I got my Oracle. Take out your wizard.
I'm putting wires in the holes.
So you guys
to
are
move
like
the voices around.
You're like the real life Stranger Things.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, except for
God.
nothing. I mean,
still have to
nothing.
watch that.
Except you are the Demogorgon.
I am the Demogorgon. Definitely, I'm not. Vecna is what it is.
Okay.
So,
Hey, that's
But-
cool.
so we were trying to find a name. We're only passively because we were still kind of building the place. And Clyde's fiance was like, "Hey, what about 8-side? Because that kind of sounds like the A side of a record. It's an 8-sided dice, which I know you guys use in the game. And then if you look at it, it kind of looks like the B side of a record.
Okay.
And we're like, that's pretty freaking smart.
That is brilliant.
Ooh.
That's very smart.
I mean, my brother designed the logo based on what those parameters. He's very good at what he does too. It took him forever, but he's slow. So, but I was very excited when he gave it to me, and I've been able to. It just looks nice. It looks good on everything. Put it in the corner.
Very nice.
So yeah, but that's how we got it. It was Clyde's fiance that made it, but it was based on our collective history.
Gotcha. Wade, you got a question for him?
Yeah, of course I got questions for you. Is that okay? So we talked about coming in, basically getting everything all set up and all the other fun stuff. But what should the musicians have set up before they show up? Because basically, this is what I've learned from the multiple hours I've spent in studios: is that time is money, and when you run out, then it costs more money. But if you walk in there with basically no clue or concept of what's about to happen, does that make you anxious?
Yeah.
Or is it kind of nice?
No.
That's the short answer.
So if you are coming in with the intention to write a song that day, you're not gonna finish in a day unless you are very creative and know exactly what you want. If you're there just like, hey, I want to spend the time I'm gonna pay you the time for your time to just record our session, then that's fine. But if we are looking to and hoping to get something, a finished product by the end of our time together, you probably should have something ahead of time, whether it's just a chord progression or lyrics or something, or melody line or something with an idea like, okay, this is this and these are some ideas I'm having. Then
or be really flexible.
yes. So if you come in and like, I don't know exactly what I want, but I kind of want this kind of vibe, I do have a lot of tools that I can whip out really quick if you need like a quick drum track or something like that. I got a bunch of
Like a wrench?
a wrench.
It's like tools.
Or an Allen wrench?
Oh. Tool. Okay, I get it. I got a bunch of
Programmer Drummy Links .3. Yeah. Quote me on that one.
got a bunch of like loops that I can throw on really quick. Just like, this is something that like maybe you want something like this, and then if they can't find a drummer, we haven't figured that out yet, but we're looking at ways to be able to hire out a drummer like
That'd be really cool.
like Wade,
Yeah.
or I got a couple of people too.
Very cool.
Maybe.
Not
I
Wade.
like studio there.
Not Wade, I guess.
Not Wade.
But
What?
being able to outsource like a musician to be
Yeah.
able to kind of fill that spot, because if I'm sometimes I'll be able to do something like I can throw a bass line on really quick.
Yep.
I can program a drum kit that's MIDI. If you want a real live drum kit, which I think we can get good sounds in that room, then we got to find an actual drummer. I'm not gonna be able to do that.
Gotcha.
So, but the idea of coming in like, I don't know what I want to do. That I feel like, then just don't come in, or set a different expectation of what you're trying to do. If you're just there to write a song, that's fine, but you're still paying me for my day rate.
Right. Yeah. So maybe
and
come
then
in
you can
prepared.
you can keep all the recordings you're doing if you want. That's fine.
Do you
but
think people come in just think it's like the Rolling Stones or something? You know, you just come in, you hang out for a week, 2 weeks, and you just sit there and record your album and figure out your lyrics in the back of the room or whatever.
Well, there's a lot of studios that offer stuff like that. Unfortunately, we cannot do that. because we do have a certain because of how the building is set up, we share space with Mickelson Insurance. I'm not going to tell the exact address. I guess I should have said that. But we share with an insurance company, and
they
are
have
upstairs.
a bathroom.
We have a bathroom, but they it is a relatively old building, so the floorboards are very loud. So we can hear them, and they can hear us. So we have to wait until after hours to make loud noises. We can still come in and do quieter stuff if you're doing MIDI stuff, if you're doing DI stuff, if you're doing lighter vocals, that's fine. But if you're there and you're expecting to write a song with a full band, you really can only be there between 6 and like 4 a.m., which is still a very large amount of time. But unlike Pachyderm Studios, which you can actually stay there, you can't just wake up and go down to the studio and hang out, write a song at 8 Side. So there are some places that you can. There's a bunch of cabins in the woods in Minnesota that are also studios. There's a castle, I think, somewhere that's also a studio that you can stay at.
Sweet!
Yeah. But we don't, unfortunately, have beds.
Yeah. Well,
So-
to be honest,
But
for
you
me,
do have a coffee maker, so
We do have a
Yeah.
coffee
That-
maker and
that
a
is
fridge.
No
Score.
coffee
Fridge.
pots, though.
No, we ran out of coffee pods and I keep forgetting.
no coffee pots.
Pods.
Oh, pods. Never mind. I thought pots. Like, how the hell's that thing
It's
work?
a Keurig.
same difference.
Coffee
Still
pot.
a coffee maker. Yeah. So, Gavin, give us a little bit about what you've been recording there. So,
Yes,
give
we
us a little
have.
bit about your experience
Yeah,
with Nick
it
and,
was a
and
great
folk.
experience. For sure. Yeah, we had a lot of fun when we went in there.
Besides the 18 mics they put on his amp.
Yeah, that was a little bit unnecessary, but
It was fun, though.
Or
it
was it
happened.
necessary?
We can say it happened.
We can say it happened, and yeah, you can ask Nick how many gigabytes or
gosh.
whatever it was, but yeah, it was a super fun time.
So take us from beginning to end, because it was. You didn't spend a whole lot of time in there.
Nope,
so
nope. So we did drum.
Nick is very efficient what he does.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. We did drums first. That was probably the first day or two, and
Yeah.
then we did guitars and bass, and then vocals last. Which, yeah.
You get
was
to hang
fun.
out in that cool sound studio thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always like that. First, like the cockpit.
Oh, yeah, and the control room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not my favorite room in there, too.
Yeah,
It
it
just
was-
it
it's a
feels
vibe.
comfy and cozy.
Yep. Yeah.
Always my favorite thing. But I always like to point out that this thing right here is that we recorded that guy, and those that remember that album, in one night. We did 5
Yeah.
tracks in one night.
Impressive.
So that, granted, they mixed it all and everything else off-site, but still got it done. But that basically takes, because I know this is one of the things that I know Nick's being really nice about this, but if you don't know what you're doing when you walk in there, you're wasting everyone's time and a lot of tape. And granted, nowadays you got that digital stuff going on, so you can just record over 1 million times and everything else. But still, it takes time every single time you
Right.
do it, and then you start running out of time, and then that starts costing money, and everyone just starts getting aggravated and everything else. So we always say that we used to always say. This is old school talk about it. If you can play through your entire set or your entire thing that you're going to do 3 times perfectly, then you're ready to go into the studio. If you don't have that down, you might want to just practice a little bit more before walking in or having your stuff tuned up and everything else now. And I'm getting into my Glenn Fricker here, so I wish I could get onto that show. That'd be great. But we're going to go back to Nick here and let him explain a little bit more about, like, what do you think's happening with the recording type industry these days? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Are we looking more at commercials? What do you see happening?
I think we're in a fantastic place. Though
And that's what I like to hear.
I think it's when you see a change, the first thing you think of is like bad. But we're in a place right now where you can create a song, and it can be any genre, and it sounds like it's from any point in time, and everyone's like,
Pretty cool.
"Sweet,
Yeah.
that's new music and stuff like that."
Right.
Are we a little oversaturated with some things, but that's okay, I think, because pretty soon it's going to be like the music industry used to be so narrow on who was getting paid and who was on the radio and all that. Now we have Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music,
Right.
and all these. These are all different services. We don't just have the radio and a CD store.
Right.
So you can be a social media influencer musician, and you can make a lot of money doing that. whether it be ads and all that stuff, without having to worry about going to a record label or to get your stuff going. You could do it all from your bedroom if you really wanted to. And then you can make a living just doing that, and then maybe some other things as well. But there's artists out there where Taylor Swift is not like she makes a lot of money now, but that she has sold a lot of stuff, right? But early on, she made no money on any of the records she did. She had to perform live, and that was how she made her money. So producing a record and shipping it out used to make no money. Now it's different because we got ad spaces on the internet. We got all these cool YouTube videos. This is how I did this and all that stuff, and that creates revenue. So you can literally make a song, and you can make money from that song if you know what you're doing. It didn't used to be that way. So
cool.
We're in a really cool space right now, I think.
I think so too.
And my position in that is we have now you don't have to just be in your bedroom, and you don't have to settle for that USB Blue Yeti that you got for Christmas from your grandma.
I love my Blue Yetis.
She has a Blue Yeti.
It's not a bad mic. I've set up a lot of Blue Yetis, and they are actually, I think they're very, very versatile. But you can come into my studio and you can use Neumann style mics. We can also just borrow Neumann microphones from Haddon or all those other people as well.
Very cool.
You can get real drum sounds and not have those MIDI drum sounds, and we do a very good job with processing those. We have a bunch of different amps that you can use live. The idea that we're here is not because we're here to make the record for you. We're here because you want to have some real electricity going through all those circuits, real air being pushed through those microphones, and then get that super studio quality in some basement in North Dakota.
It's pretty cool.
So I think we're in a fantastic place for music production, and I think if as long as people are educated on how to do it, you can make a living making music nowadays, and it's crazy.
It does sound crazy. There's so much of it out there. But I got to give one back on the drum sounds. Now, what drum sounds Nick comes up with, second to none. I haven't heard stuff like that, at least live for me recording in a long, long, long time. So you're looking for good drum sounds, yeah, go talk to Nick.
100%.
I like to think I'm good at least that.
Yep, 100% you are.
That's
Sounds
tough
good.
stuff. I mean, that's a lot of things happening, and again, 1 billion mics. That's not on one thing.
Not as many as Gavin's guitar, though.
No. But you can try.
He did that on purpose.
Yeah, I think we did. Well, yeah.
He wanted to one up somebody.
All right, well, I got to bring you to the top 5 of 84. This one's going to be a tough one, guys. I'm going to let you know right now. It might not be tough for Nick.
I'm not that old.
That's the
feel
whole
like
idea behind it. Let's see, where... That one, where are you? Oh, never mind. That's right, because I keep forgetting about it. I got to talk about my drum pad circle over at Drummer's Journey every Wednesday night, 5:30 to 7 o'clock. Just show up with a drum pad, some sticks. I'll bring the bad jokes and a couple of pieces of candy. Exactly. And then we just drum along. You can show up anytime. You can leave anytime. Doesn't matter. If you're just starting, you've been there 1 billion years, whatever else, I always say he's got to beat the old man in the room. That's what we're looking for. But top 5 albums from 1984, the entire year, the 5th album of there.
Oh, no.
Minutemen. Have you ever heard of Minutemen? I have never heard of these people.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay, because they're supposed to be really big, so that means
Oh,
those
God.
of you that are looking at this stuff, you might want to pause it and then do a little research on there. This might get really interesting. But Double Nickels on the Dime. It was recorded by, which is really more produced by.
Yeah.
And now, granted, the person that produced this one, this is his biggest album he ever produced. And it was just a lot of early, I won't say punk, but more the indie type stuff.
Gotcha.
Early
Okay.
80s or late 70s stuff. So does Nick know any of these producer type people? So I was going through it. I was just like, I don't recognize any of these names, but it has been 41 years ago.
Yeah, that's that. I feel
Before
like
you were a
I'm,
twinkle in some people's eyes.
Oh, is it like a label company?
Mm,
Or is it like
the
a
person.
person?
It's a
person.
Oh,
person,
boy.
yeah.
You have stumbled on the one thing that I'm so bad at. I cannot remember people's names. So
I as well. I like Bill Law. Bill Law is... He is the GOAT. He'll meet you once for about 5 seconds. 10 years later, he'll just run into you.
Yeah.
And say, hey, how's it going? Like, how'd you do that?
I'm gonna say Dominic Lavache.
Donovan.
Wow.
It is Ethan James.
It wasn't even close.
I was close.
Exactly. It's like, this is the biggest thing he produced, and then he died, I think, in 2002. I don't know all this about all the producers, but
don't
I
even
was
know
looking
who that
into
is.
this guy because I was like, what is going on with this one? But
I was gonna say 8 Side Studio.
Yeah.
Inside Studio.
Bro, my mom was
Every
in middle
single time,
school in
it was
1984.
Nick
Fumble.
Haagenson.
Could have been.
Allie, you got a question for Nick? You're in
you-
the studio.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
It was a good experience. It was a lot of fun. He's pretty professional, good at what he does. Can you make
Fairly
your
professional.
synths sound like frogs? Is that something you can do in your studio?
That is something that I can do on purpose and by accident. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, if you have the wrong, if it turns out that the interface does have a minor effect on the encoding process, it's not supposed to, but it does. And I was sending stuff with Allie back and forth. We were working on a song, and I sent her something. And it sounded really good when I was doing it. And I sent it already, and I was like, I wonder what that sounds like on the phone. And I just hear all these like nice
I was
airy
about to ask what that
synths.
sounded like.
All these beautiful airy synths just sounded like
I
frogs.
love
and I
your
was like,
email titles with that.
Don't
listen. This
listen.
sounds like frogs. The other day it was Sheboygan or something like that. I'm like, what?
because I already because we were back and forth, and I said, I think you can only say final so many
Yeah.
times
Yeah.
before it actually is
Right.
final. So I just said Sheboygan.
That works too.
No.
Unreal.
Okay, yeah, I can make
Yeah.
it sound like frogs
Good.
on
Good.
purpose and by accident.
Awesome.
Okay, coming with instruments bringing into the studio. Do you prefer them to bring their own stuff, or do you just rather have them use what you have
Good question.
just because you're familiar with it and maybe have a little bit of, expertise?
That is a very good question. I actually get really excited when something new comes in. I don't like when things are the same.
Nerd!
So there's a whole process, and I didn't even show Wade how everything I do when you're quantizing drums. When we are recording drums, there will always be a slight discrepancy in the time, even if you're right on, because it takes the interface time to.
I still think he's lying.
We can test this later.
He's absolutely correct.
So, and that's okay. There's some ebb and flow, but we have found that though you do want to have the natural sound of the drums, sometimes that bass area where the kick and snare are on 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and stuff like that, it really does solidify the rest of the band to know where that is. It's kind of like it isn't also a method, I guess, where the bass shouldn't have chorus on it because it makes the whole band sound out of tune. But having that at least bass line there where the drums are there is very important. But I get so bored doing it that I will actually mute the thing because I can see if I can see the quantizing things. I've done it enough times where I know what it's supposed to be, and I'll put on a TV show on the other screen while I'm doing it.
Nice.
I hate doing the same thing over and over and over again.
get it.
So I get really excited when someone says, "Hey, I'm going to bring in my 1972 Ampeg guitar amp." I'm like, that sounds awesome.
Cool.
I can't wait to figure out how to mic that. I'm going to bring in my, that would be annoying. I'm going to bring in my 8 tom drum kit. I'm like, okay, that'll be fun. I don't think I can do that, but we're going to try. So I do enjoy when people bring in their stuff because then it gives me an opportunity to try something.
Yeah.
And it gives them an opportunity to hear what it sounds like coming into our, through our sound loop. So
Gotcha.
Or learn something, and maybe you're just up for the challenge.
yeah.
There we go. All right. Number 4. We have the replacements. Let it be.
Oh.
And I learned that they were kind of mocking one of the producers with the Let It Be thing because he was a big Beatles fan.
Mhm.
Okay.
And somehow they got to be able to keep it for the album. So
I'm not
I
going to
didn't
know
read that
any of
part.
these.
I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin. The Reuben sandwich. Nope, just throw something out.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Ooh,
Steve Fell? Oh,
Oh,
Peter.
okay.
Okay.
I was close.
And
Actually, I do know those guys.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the
Oh.
thing. I was either this is going to be really easy for you, or this is just going to be over everyone's head.
No, I know Peter Jesperson. I know the name anyway.
All right.
They did some like really Christian-y music, I think. I don't know.
Could be.
Quite possible.
So, yeah.
Got to look more into it. So there again, pause it and take a look. You know, the history of this stuff. Pretty key to what's happening.
I'm learning stuff. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
all the time.
What?
So let's give it back to Gavin. Gavin, hit him with something
Yeah.
hard.
So you're a musician, yes?
Uh-huh.
Not
Are you
that.
Are you in any bands?
Not that. Are you a musician?
That was so
Yes.
hard.
Yeah, I'm in a couple bands. And I got to say Pirate on Cassette because Allie's here.
Allie with an eye.
Yep, Allie and I. Pirate on Cassette is a nostalgia band, and it's really fun.
Extremely fun.
Extremely fun. I'm also
Booking at pirateoncassetteband@gmail.com.
yes.
Shameless self-promotion.
Well, it has to be.
Never
I
shameless.
love it.
It's also isn't this the Pirate on Cassette YouTube channel that we're on?
It might be.
Yes.
It's actually the Plank podcast channel, but we're trying to roll through it.
Oh,
A
okay.
bunch of other things.
Okay.
Brought to you by Pirate on Cassette and Day of Bliss.
Nice.
Yes, with Gavin and myself.
I'm also in Uptown.
And also, yes,
We are also in Uptown together, me and Wade, and we do a lot of parties and weddings and stuff. It's really fun.
Very cool.
Rodeos are fun. I think most fun for Uptown.
Rodeos? You
Yep.
did a rodeo.
Got to do the rodeos,
kidding.
man. It's so fun.
when
You're
you
outside.
see a
It's so
full
good.
line of line dancers actually
that would be
Doing
kinda
it, it's so
satisfying,
so good.
Copperhead Road in the middle of
You're like, because no one does it. No one
Right.
actually does the dance.
Yeah.
But then when you see people do the dance and it's like 100 people, and you're like, oh my god,
That's
this is actually really fun.
That's cool. I bet it is.
Still, the best one was out there. It was in a cow pasture right after they took the cows out from a show, and they're all just doing their thing. So
Oh yeah.
no cares in the world.
I love music at rodeos. I think it's fun. Even if I'm there, I'm usually there for the music, but it's just a different kind of energy. Everyone's there to have fun, so
That's
it's
very
always
cool.
going to be fun.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah.
Tim Moss Isleys. All right, number 3. Bam.
Oh, the Smiths.
Smiths.
Oh god.
The Smiths.
Wait, recorded
Smiths
or
were the
produced?
best. The produced.
Allie might know this one.
Because I was like recorded by, then I realized it's just producers that are on everything. So I don't know if they actually have like sound engineer. Well, they probably do somewhere.
They do now, but it probably wasn't a requirement. So for labeling and stuff like that. So I think they changed that with.
Isn't that album cover epic?
Oh yeah.
That was Nick in 1984.
Yes.
He wasn't even born yet. That's what he thought he was.
I
in
was the
19
left peck.
Oh, man.
The Smiths.
The Smiths.
Oh.
Let's throw out some names.
John Smith.
John Smith.
Peter Smith.
Peter Smith.
What are you, Allie?
What does Allie got?
Smith.
Smith.
Smith. It was
John
Porter.
Come on. We were so close.
I got the first name.
We should have said Bob. Dang it.
What else has he did? What else did he do?
All right. So, what do you plan on doing with the recording studio? What's your plans for the next year or so? Not all your 5-year plans, but what are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, obviously, we want more people to come in to record. That's how you make money. But I guess the idea would be to expand enough or get popular enough to make enough money doing some things. We're looking at doing some sort of influencer channels as well. Kind of, we have this idea of doing like a Mythbusters for audio to see if to test some
very
real
cool.
things
Yeah.
that are.
I like that idea.
Yeah, test some things like, does it really matter if you measure the mics on the overheads and stuff like that? It doesn't. Does it? So as long as you're close.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
It's good to know, actually. But
it does, but it doesn't. Like you got to be close.
I gotcha.
But stuff like that. What's the or stupid stuff like what's the do you know what a sub kick is?
yes.
So a sub kick, for people that don't know, is it's basically a speaker, and it's wired in reverse, and it acts as a microphone. And so you put it against a kick drum, and it captures all that low energy frequency. So that's how you feel that ooh, ooh, and like
Ooh.
and nice deep recordings and stuff
Yeah.
like that. The big
The hard stuff.
ooh. But we wanted to do a test, like how big can we make a sub kick? Mike, you good?
Yeah, we're good. Sorry.
Because usually they're like 10 inches or 12 inches, but we're like, can we make one the size of a kick drum ring, and would it work at all? So we're looking. I want to do stuff like that, and I'm not the only one. Dalton's like, let's do it.
Yeah,
And so,
that's awesome. That sounds really fun.
so we want to see like. We want to make our own stuff. We want to see if we can make our own stuff. We want to bust myths to see if it actually matters if you use a different kind of fader on Pro Tools or not, if it actually changes the sound or not. I don't think so. Clyde thinks it does. So now it's a debate. Now we got to try it. And so it's little things like that we're trying to do an influencer thing. And a year from now, it would be really cool for us to be like a name everyone knows, kind of like Livewire or in the area and stuff like that, or for people to come from a different area to come to Fargo.
That would be very cool.
8-side, yeah, it's a grandpa's basement, but it's really cool.
It's Slade, I tell you, fam.
Or, I mean, the goal is
Skibbity Riz.
Initially just to be popular enough for people to say, well, let's go record it at 8-side. And
that'd be very cool.
But I guess the ultimate goal would be really cool if we could be like a punch-in a recording space for like bigger artists, but that's probably never going to happen. So, but we are out of the way, so it might happen.
There you go. It's a good goal.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, still a great time there. All right, what is number 2? Prince,
oh, well, come on.
Purple Rain, produced by
Prince.
Bob Seger.
Bob Seger. What do you got, Allie?
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. And you know what? It was by Prince
Yeah.
and the Revolution.
Dang.
Prince did his own stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, actually.
That's wild.
Dang.
Anytime you see anything by Prince, he did it himself.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
That's
I did not know that.
Except for maybe
Awesome.
Raspberry Beret. But
Okay.
I will have to look that up later.
Okay.
Raspberry Bombay. So, Gavin, what else do you got for the old mixture here? The
Let's
MNFer.
see.
Besides, how do you twist the knobs and stuff? 'Cause
Yeah.
It still blows my mind
So
on
do you-
witchcraft stuff that he does.
Do you guys do any, I know you said you do computers, but do you guys do any sort of tape recording or anything like that?
No.
Analog.
Is there a specific reason or
Price.
price?
So it's mainly price. Once you get tape and once you use it, you can erase it, but there will always be crosstalk. Crosstalk is when you store tape and part of that information gets bled through the layers.
Okay.
So if I did something and I store it and I don't use it again for 2 weeks and I realize, I need to erase that so I can use it for another project, it's still going to be there.
Right,
Just a little bit.
Magnetation.
So
Gotcha. Kind of a pain in the butt.
yeah, so if I did get like reusable tape, it's not going to be a great experience every single time, and eventually just never going to be usable again.
Right.
The equipment that I have to have is very expensive. If I find one that's broken, then I have to fix it, and then I have to calibrate it every single time I use it,
Wow.
and that is a pain.
Wow.
Also, editing on tape is not
Ideal.
ideal.
Yeah.
You can master on tape. That's pretty easy because you're just outsourcing the left and right going into the tape, which is great. But if we were to record on tape, which is dumb, then I would then what I would probably do is just bounce it to a computer anyway.
I gotcha.
Oh, we'll get out.
You don't like using the old razor
Yeah.
blades and stuff?
No.
Aren't those there's what are those called? You can kind of mimic tape with digital stuff.
We got emulators, and I have used
Emulators, that's the
emulators.
word.
I used one on. I gave you 2 options,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I sent her a very, very good emulated.
Very cool.
It was an I think it was Ampex tape emulator. Ampex is one of the bigger, well-known ones.
Okay.
So yeah,
It's pretty cool what you can do with a computer now, huh?
yeah, you can get
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
And speaking about recording on tape, what is number 1? The number 1 album,
boy.
1984.
Oh, gosh.
Madonna's Like a Virgin. Last week, everyone was saying Madonna for the top album of the week, but no, she had the album of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Butch Vig.
Butch Vig. Oh, I like it. Actually, I got Butch Vig's autograph. Right
No
here.
way you do.
Wow.
Yeah. One of these.
What? What?
Right there.
No way.
Butch Vig.
I think you just wrote that on there.
No, I actually found this, and it says garbage on there. I'm like,
What?
oh, garbage, who cares? And Butch Vig.
That's super cool. Very cool.
So they just hang out.
I'm trying to think who would have like a virgin because Madonna is
Like a
big.
virgin.
This person probably did other things for the bigger
see,
people too.
Alex showed me up on that
I
one.
beat you to it.
Did you say it already?
No.
Oh,
I
oh.
yeah.
What do you say, Nick?
John Bonneville.
Alan Greenspan. There's a name from the past.
Johnny Appleseed.
Johnny Apple. Prince. It was Prince.
It was Prince. It was Niles Rogers.
Nile Rodgers.
So close.
Yes. So close. And that guy recorded a lot of stuff all
That's
over
right.
the place.
Yeah.
All
Did he
over.
do? I'm probably wrong, but did he do? Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah.
I am not sure of that. I was just impressed that he was in the rap and he was into country. You know, I mean, he produced a lot of things. So. Very versatile that one was. Yes, or probably is. I'm gonna
You
say.
can have more than one project going on at a time. You got to make money.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised that wasn't
True.
in the list. That's pretty cool.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, I swear. But now we got to get down to this last question. Well, I shouldn't say last one. If you guys got a couple more for him, if not, but I'm gonna say just like the ultimate experience you could have there, Nick, besides someone walking in with a blank check. That's way too easy. What would be the ultimate experience for you to record down there?
Oh, I gotta think of that one.
At 8 size.
At eight side studio. Ultimate experience to record, or to
The ultimate experience you'd like to see for recording.
okay.
It has to do with recording.
Okay, has to do with recording.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I would like to. I feel like
geez,
I'm
you know.
limiting my own thing here.
It's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. You got time.
gosh.
You're thinking.
I got to find the Davenport, yeah.
The Davenport, yeah. I would say if there was someone that came in that knew what they wanted, but also was fairly popular, wanted to try to see if they could stump me,
Stump you in what way?
in any way, I guess.
In any way.
Like, hey, do you think you can record the inside of this, guitar at the same time as the outside of this guitar?
Interesting.
I'd figure it out really quick, I think. But
Okay.
if someone wanted to try to test me and like record it, put it on a YouTube video or something like that, and then
He loves a challenge.
I want to see that. I want to see someone try to come in and say, hey, I bet you can't do this. I'm like, oh, I bet you I can.
I like it.
Now
I
I'm
like
coming
it.
up with ideas.
My dad's a farmer. I can figure anything out with my two hands.
I like it.
Now
Oh,
I
get
go
outta
with Allie?
Allie, you got a
I'll
question?
behave. I'll be in the corner.
You got a question
I'm
for
already
him?
in the corner. Sorry.
No.
No.
Put baby in the
I don't
corner.
know.
We love you just the way you are,
Yeah.
Nick. We really do.
What size shoe do you wear?
Huh?
Yeah,
What size
that's-
shoe do you wear?
I think I don't know what these are.
I like
They're
those. I
too
might-
big.
I might
think
take
they're
them for you.
12s.
What size hat do you wear?
Medium.
The medium.
Medium.
What is this one?
Oh,
Such a
don't take it.
simple
Put it
sided thing.
back. Put it
Oh,
back.
it's large, extra
Put
large.
it back.
Yeah, my head's all kind of weird.
Thanks.
Oof.
I can
Yeah.
breathe.
Oh, I know. It's all that hot air, so it's kind
Yeah.
of keeping it in there.
All right. Anything left for him there, Gavin?
Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, of course. You should have fun.
What'd you have for breakfast?
I was just grilling him now.
I woke up late, so I had rice. That's what
Rice?
Yeah, I had
Rice
rice.
for breakfast.
Yeah,
Is that what all producers eat for breakfast?
that's what I eat for breakfast, and I am all producers. Yeah. All I know is the band that I'm in. The front man has more charisma than the drummer, so we're okay.
I don't know what you're talking
So-
about here.
Anyway, is there any last words you got to say, Wade?
Last words that I got to say. Hey, you got to say them first. So where
Armpit
can we
farts are
find you
fun.
there, Nick?
Oh my gosh, you're here.
You broke the
Oh.
fourth wall.
Quit
They're
staring
here.
at him.
You can find me on Facebook, X, I guess now is Twitter. No, wait, other way around. Instagram, all under, I think it's under Nick Lewis Taylor. But you can also follow 8 Side Studio on all the social medias, where we post a lot of cool pictures. Some of them are on the green screen. Hey, look, That was really good timing. But yeah.
Starship Enterprise.
Otherwise, you can follow. Oh gosh. Follow my bands, Uptown and Pirate on Cassette.
Represent.
Represent. Okay. What about you, Gavin? Where can we find you at?
You can
If
find
anyone
me.
really wants to find you.
Yeah, on Instagram or Facebook. Day of Bliss Band.
Bam.
Yes.
Yes, there
What
you
are you
go.
doing,
You can
Nick?
find us from the Tiki Tacs down to the Instagram, all on the the Plank Pod or the Plank Podcast, wherever you need to find us at. And also, you can get a hold of us at theplankpod@gmail.com if you have any questions or if you know people that want to come onto the podcast or whatever else. We take all suggestions and all that fun stuff. And you can see I am going into the 8-side logo right now. Yeah. Because that place is pretty fun. It is really cool.
Very
I
chill.
Very, very highly recommend it, especially for the drum sounds themselves. So thank you for doing that. But remember, if your guitarist, bass player, or drummer has more charisma than your front man or woman, won't leave you out, Allie.
Thanks.
Your band may be in trouble. But that's why my band's doing just fine.
I think I said that earlier.
So, until
Maybe.
next time,
Deja vu.
Nick!
Oh.